go. This. All right, here we are. We even got a little theme music to bring us in. See, so there we go. And see if anybody pops in during the theme music. It's the Live Legends theme. And I put all this time and effort into it. Lighting and everything. There we go. First one in. There you go. For my hokey dokey intro music. So there we are. Good afternoon. There we go. So there you go. The magic. The magic. I had to do something hokey today. So there we go. We're all good. We're all in. Everybody joining in. There you go. Bobby. I hope you're doing well, Bobby. I heard. Hope you heal up well and nicely. So Larry just let me know. So hope all's good with you, buddy. Got a little fire out Lost Dutchman State Park. Jack Olson mentioned it earlier. There's a television's catching it. I guess it's spread across, jumped across over by the OK Corral. There was a little bit of live feed, and you can see Shoes has been out with the water trucks running them and doing what he can to keep everything wet around Goldfield. So, let's see. They still say yes, and Frank should start a podcast. You and Frank should. Frank, I don't know if Frank would do that because it would take a schedule of saying, "Hey, Frank, can you do a podcast with us?" And then have to have Frank do it and have him set up. All he would need is a camera and so forth and sit at the computer. But I don't think he would do that. 111 degrees, by the way. It's actually cooled off. It was 112 earlier, and we're at about 12% humidity. The problem we're facing right now is the monsoons are starting to come in from the south, but it's just hot, dry air, and it's breezy, so it's going to push the fires. So hopefully it looks like everything's fine. I'm not going to call Ron or Jesse or Bob or anybody over there and let them, because I'm sure they're dealing with plenty of drama. I'll talk to them in the next day or so, or if they really want to put the word out about anything, they'll pass a cool 89. But they'll put word out, but hopefully it's something that can be contained. But it appears it started out at Lost Dutchman and then spread and broke across. So I can see the OK Corral and then Shoes' sheds in the back. So hopefully everything's going to be fine. Any truth to dry heat? What's the truth about heat? You want to know what dry heat is? Here's dry heat. Dry heat is open the oven and go sit inside your oven. That's dry heat. It just feels like you bake. It's just dry. It's hot. I don't care what it is. I used to go back and visit my grandparents. Hey, Trevor.
Hey.
Everybody's happy to see you.
Yeah. You couldn't really see me behind you in the seat, but I've been back there the whole time.
Okay, there you go. Well, I know you were back there because you were there before.
No, I don't think anybody else knew. I was just back behind.
All right. So there we go. So that's how that started on that 94 on the Treasure Coast. So dry heat is just, it bakes you. And I would go back to my grandparents and run, and I will tell you the humidity is tough when it's like 80-90% humidity and it's 90 degrees. But you bring someone from that to here at 110 and dry, it just snaps. It's like dry cold. Dry cold is far worse than damp cold. If it's 32 degrees and there's snow on the ground and the humidity's up, it doesn't feel nearly as bad as when it's a dry cold. So sweltering hot and high humidity here in North Carolina. So we will be getting our high humidity days, and nobody knows what it's like when it's 90% humidity and it's 115, 120 degrees. This is one of the few places you'll get that, and let me explain, that's miserable. And people work in it. We have to work in it. We have to be out in it, so it kind of sucks. I'm going to be sipping a lot, and I will hang in there as long as I can. Everybody around here was sick for 2 weeks. I don't know if they brought it back from France or Spain, but then it went through everyone, and I seem to be fine. And then yesterday I could feel the sinuses, and it's mainly just been, you can hear that my nose is a little lightly stuffed up, and I've been sweating. I mean, I've been out trying to sweat it out, but it is just like I sweat no matter what. I could stand in a room that's 68 degrees and I'm just sweating. So hopefully it's just sweating out of me. So odd camera angle today, a little different. But we got some lighting set up, did a few things, moved a few things around. So we're getting into that. Did talk to Frank this week and kind of went back and forth with Greg Davis. Very quiet. It's summertime, so there'll be a little back and forth about some things as we push forward into the summer. The big news is, okay, this Monday, and I'll kind of preview, we have Tachi's Lost Lode, which will be our Chasing Legends for this Monday out by the Harquahala Mountains. And everybody will enjoy that. But next Wednesday, and we will be putting out shorts on it, will be the 90th anniversary Trek hike video. So it'll be coming out Wednesday in the middle of next week. 4 o'clock is normal, I'm pretty sure. Right, Trevor? 4 o'clock? Always 4 o'clock. Arizona time, 4 o'clock all the time for everything. So that will be coming out. So we got that finished. We'll be putting that out as kind of a special thing for everybody on the hike, who've been on the hike and stuff. That's about 35, 40 minutes.
What is?
The Trek hike video.
35 minutes.
Okay, so, well, I was right. He could have just said yeah. All right, so we got that coming. Then we'll have next week's live, which we'll talk more. And then the following Monday, July 1st, History Channel will be running History's Greatest Mysteries with Lawrence Fishburne. The, the Lost Dutchman's Gold Mine, Jacob Waltz's Lost Dutchman Mine or something like that. Anyways, that'll be Monday, July 1st, but what we're going to do, what?
I think it's called The Legend of the Lost Dutchman.
Okay, The Legend of the Lost Dutchman Mine. Okay, so besides that, the Chasing Legends that day will be my trip to Los Angeles and consulting and working on that show. I won't give you anything. It'll be behind the scenes, but you won't get any information on the show itself other than kind of my lead up to it and my journey there. So you'll get to see what I did the 3 days I was in Los Angeles while I filmed that. So that'll be kind of fun. So you can sit back, watch that at 4 o'clock if you watch them live. If not, you can watch the History Channel thing or record it and then watch our stuff. You can watch it before or after. Doesn't really matter. It's not going to be a spoiler, but it's going to let you know how I kept myself occupied. So that'll be a pretty busy next week and a half for that stuff. So that's a lot, you know. So we'll have the Monday, the Wednesday, the Friday, and then the Monday double shot, which I hope you got History Channel, but it'll be on History Channel. You have to look at the local times. I know my time, it comes in early at 5 o'clock. So behind me you see, is that Whitey's World you're doing behind me?
No, I already finished that.
Oh, okay. No, so Trevor's working on
other.
other.
On Europe right now, but I think
he's working on a Europe
I
one.
think I'm pretty good with it.
Okay, but yeah, he's working on other people's YouTube channels, so that's kind of what's going on behind me. So that's if you want a sneak peek of something he's working on, there it is. And I don't know what we'll do with that. We might do something on Wednesdays with that trip. I don't know how long that'll be. He's just getting all the footage from those that week. And then he's going to probably have to put a bunch of narration together, which we have to add to our next, not this Monday, but the next Monday. So that's a lot to take in. So we will be doing shorts. We'll probably put a short out this weekend, and I'll remind and spread the word about the Don's Trek video. And then after next Wednesday, once that is out, we will spread out some shorts, and I will go out and put out some things on Facebook and other areas of social media and YouTube about the History's Greatest Mysteries. So call everybody. And that was a very cool show to work on because they let me be a consultant and let me rewrite a lot of stuff. And I have never seen the finished product. I just know it's a great group of people to work with. I like the program. The program generally pulls about 600,000-700,000 viewers. So we'll be able to judge if that is any hotter or colder than what they run. Trevor was asking earlier, Josh Gates, what he pulls. He pulls about 1.3, 1.4 million. He is Discovery Channel's highest pulling program. Ghost Adventures generally doesn't pull but half of that. I think they pull about 600,000 to 800,000. So Josh Gates pulls a lot up there. Hey, Dallas. Hey, what's up? So Dallas, you'll probably want to go watch the beginning of this because there's a lot of information. I was looking at the 1884 Pedro map. You show up on your paper map video. It looks a lot like Matrix's Marsh. There you go. And it could be. Who knows? You can matrix these maps into almost anywhere, unless they purposely are a fake map and they're putting them in one place or another, which a few of them they do. But anyways, hey, and people are still jumping on in, so yeah, it's a pretty good crowd. But so there you go. That's, you guys missed the theme music earlier, so that's one thing you want to jump back. And we tried something kind of dorky. I was going to actually play Dobro over it, and I kind of practiced it a little, but I forgot when we went to jump in, and so, but I will do that really. What entrance to the mountains would you be certain Walt's used? I think it's first water, because that would seem to be the easiest, even though he mentions the south side of the mountains, but I don't know for sure. So I don't know about the traveling the Salt River and cutting across by Peters Mesa, by Tortilla and all that. That doesn't feel like right. Here it is. This is called a resonator guitar. Everybody can get a good look at it. It's also known as a dobro, so don't get confused when you hear the terms dobro and resonator. Here, sorry that I missed the jam. Well, it wasn't much of a jam. Glad to be here. What do you think he saw? Do you think he saw Well, yeah, he saw the parking lot and the toilet. He used the toilet on the way in. I don't know if he came in that way. You can come in through Lost Dutchman State Park and come down through that way. So there's other ways to feed down through there. That's kind of the way that Julia and them came on their later trips. Their first trips, they never even entered deep in the mountains. They were out by Hog Canyon and those areas. So that was what makes it curious, is if he was trying to bring them in for the first water area, why did they end up in Hog Canyon? And then if he wanted the south side, why didn't they? Maybe they just didn't know where the ranch was at the time. So, but they ended up, that's how Jim Bark ran into him, and they found out about the ranch and more familiar, was because he ran into him when they were out by Hog Canyon, and then redirected them to come by the ranch before they left. Well, it's got supplies from the board house. No, he stopped by there, I think is the term, and he talked about Matt Cavaness's wife, we believe, stopping or going through that area. So, which means he could have been coming out. I mean, generally that means you could be coming out of almost anywhere, because if you were coming out of the mountains through the pass by Miner's Needle or anywhere east of there, you would be coming by the ranch. So, there you go. Old topo maps show the trails. Well, there's no old topo maps that show the trails back in Walt's day. Walt's got some, okay, good point. That's why I'm curious about Walt's using Peralta. Yeah. So people used to go in through different ways. One of the reasons people started going in what First Water became was because of the Barkley Ranch. And you had the road, and then they could get deeper in and park. So they probably went in through various different ways, but the Barkleys, once they established First Water, made that even more so. So who knows which path they were exactly taking in. The person that would have known or had the information would have been Tom Kollenborn, because his dad knew Herman and knew everybody and had talked to quite a few people. Bob Garman probably knew it, and there's nothing I've ever found from them that said specific notes, just that they came in through that general area. If you had to choose east versus west versus Rogers or LaBarge, it's west, because even Herman says that. Herman says that in the newspaper article. He says there's two Spanish mines up here by Rogers and all that, and he talks, but he says the Peralta mines are in the western Superstitions. Herman, I told Trevor I wanted to read that article. I want to do just an episode doing that article and talking about it, because people leave sentences out to make it sound different. He was very aware of the mines up by Rogers Canyon and that area and Rogers Trough, because he lived out that way and he was up in that way. But if you read the article, the whole article, when they visited him, he tells them now the Peralta mines were in the western Superstitions, and that's where he hunted. He didn't hunt in these. Even Bob Garman's book, when Herman died, the last trip Garman made for Herman, he was out going through Miner's Needle country, and it's there. There's a map and everything about the trip, so there's no confusing that. So he was sending him in through that way, which means Garman was going in through Peralta. Excellent point. I don't know what my excellent point is. Surely that Petrash knew if it was first water, and that's important. But the problem is everybody muddies it, and people will say, well, Brownie knew from his dad who said this, and this. Like, well, did Dick Holmes ever talk to Waltz? Possibly not. So people always like to take what they think. That's Jack scratching. Good boy. But people like to take what they think or interpret something to be as, and then just make that part of the narrative. And that's a shame on them, because they muddy things up and they make it distinctively, oh, this is what this is about. There's a couple particular stories someday I'll have to talk about and pull apart, because I think they're completely fictitious, fictional accounts that were made by people just simply so they could be popular amongst a very small group of people, because this is a niche thing. And what they did was they contaminated good information and put words in people's mouths. And the fact of the matter is, if that document was real, the real original document or a copy of it would exist, and it doesn't. So people made fictional stuff up just to kind of feel like, make themselves feel important, and that's a shame. One of them's still out there, still doing it. We try to keep those people in check a bit anymore, because I got tired of it, because it's really sad, because it leads people down the wrong paths. So from last Friday's show, you said do not believe any of the KGC things. Okay, hold it. You did not believe any of the KG things brought out. No, it's not the KGC thing. I'm not have no interest in that stuff. So I hear about it, the Jesse James stuff, the KGC stuff. I'm not in that area. I know Jesse does. Jesse's into some of that stuff. I'm not into that stuff. I'm into the Southwest. I'm into the Lost Dutchman. I'm into stuff in Arizona. I'm expanding. I might do one of those stories, but there's, that's another one of those stories, tales. It's kind of like an Oak Island and stuff. So many people have put their fingerprints on the thing that you don't know which way's up. And everybody's out there. I mean, you don't know if that blaze or that mark is from 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 80. Everybody's a forensic scientist in the field. And I find that a bit ridiculous. I mean, there are real scientists, but most of us couldn't tell you really how old something is. We can guesstimate if it's really old or not, but can't do much. Hold on, gotta clear the throat. Trying to keep up with everybody. I saw a sketch of DeGrazia. I'd have to look at the map again. If it was DeGrazia, it was just something he sketched out. I don't think he searched for the mine, but I don't think it was a map of where he thought the mine was. Jack is a... What? Jack is a resonator. What does that mean? Jack is a resonator. I don't know what that means. He's a resonator? Okay. What do you think about Dan Dillon and the Peralta Stones, about his grandfather? Who's Dan Dillon? I don't know. I know Travis Tomlinson made them in Texas, and he made the first two, and the reason you don't see early pictures of all three is because he made the other one in Oregon later. And that's a pretty hard story to beat when you start realizing more and more documents from the family came out, and pictures and stuff. And even the family came out and said he made them. They talked when he dropped the heart in the shed. I mean, that would have made a great TV show. And nobody's going to get rich off that. Nobody's ever going to get rich off that. But it would have made a great TV show tearing that up and doing that. I don't hate the Stones. I just know the story. Here's the thing, too. The story of the Stones has been known for 20-some-odd years. Everybody's really known this story. And now everybody's like in this, it's like we knew 20 years ago. Oh, man. I always forget Gary Hanna, Larry Hanna, Gary Cundiff, did great research, and people started following up. Some of the stone map guys tried to poo-poo it, but it held up really good, and then Frank made a trip, and it just fell into itself. The problem is people that want to believe in some piece of it just keep matrixing and pushing it, something about it up. And last week I pointed out, here's a story that preceded it by 50, 60 years, and it's a pretty similar story, and they were finding stuff. So why wouldn't you, if you knew about these stories, make this stuff up? It seems kind of obvious. I'm not saying that's where Tomlinson got the idea, but it kind of makes sense. Greetings from Prisket. Still know why Jack's a resonator. I don't hate the stone maps. I just get frustrated trying to explain stuff to me. I mean, go to Greg Davis and read the files and listen to the interviews of all the people that have visited the Tomlinson's relatives and family. You will not believe they're real after you're done. You will change your mind completely. That's why, and then none of them are searching for it. Remember this too. None of them have anything to do with it. They have all the original photographs and maps and all this stuff and all this information. None of them are out here looking for it. So why the Dutchman is frustrated all means we should have access if Waltz went north-south. Well, and the problem is, okay, here is the biggest problem. People were interviewing, they weren't asking the right questions. I think Jim Bark had the best information, but we don't have his 30, 40 questions. We don't have the notes that he made from Julia and Reinhardt. We just have what he put in the Bark manuscript. That's what you have. Because of that, you don't have the details that would help you in any way. Now, it's important to know this because I have letters from John Spangler, Jim Bark's nephew, who had all that stuff. He said he didn't mind loaning the Bark notes out to people. Just please don't copy or circulate them. He said, I don't think it's going to help anybody. It just gives you an overview of the history. But please don't copy and circulate them, because I think he was trying to decide what he wanted to do with them. Instead, people continued to copy them and spread them around. So there are letters of him sharing those. I don't think they had anything in them that he thought was going to change anything. However, John had the other material, and that's what I think he was going by. I don't think many people saw that stuff or had anything to do with it. It's important to note that none of us have ever seen that material. Additionally, John Spangler continued to search. I don't know if anybody in the family, I've never heard of any of them out searching still. I don't know if any of them are interested. I've had contact with a few. I've kept it very low profile, just inquiries, or anything I found that I thought they might find interesting, I've shared, but I've kept that kind of a very distant acquaintance relationship. I think Thomas Glover knew them better, and he didn't seem to get anywhere, and I figured if Thomas wasn't able to get anywhere, I'm not going to push it. Because you never know when one person will come up real friendly and say, hey, I really like your show, and let's talk about this. So I've just kind of kept that open of like, you know who I am, you know how to get a hold of me. Here's some things, you have this, are you interested in this? So that I've done that. It's hard to believe Kollenborn didn't spill the beans on Walt's route in. Tom, let's face it, find all the information of Tom talking about how him and his dad used to go visit Herman Petrasch and sit around the cabin and all the stuff Tom heard about. Find the articles about Herman Petrasch being one of George Kollenborn's partners. Tom didn't talk about any of that stuff. And here's the weird thing, because nobody asked about some of that stuff. People asked about some of the dumbest stuff. And when I talk to Tom, I like to say, hey, did you know anything about this? And he'd tell me sometimes. I'm sure I got it written down somewhere. I don't know if that would help you. And he'd look and occasionally, come back to you and talk. We did have the discussions about the routes in, because why they changed their routes. Part of it, I think, from the perspective of Julia, Thomas, and Reinhardt was, Waltz talked to them so long, he probably gave them different routes or pathways he was coming into the mountains, or what the way he went might have been different than the way he wanted to take them in. So we don't know all that. If Jim Mark knew, then we haven't heard that. Tom knew a lot more than he put in the books. Tom told stories, and think about this, if you read Tom's stories, they're not really opinionated on his thoughts of the Lost Dutchman. They tells the stories of the people in the Lost Dutchman. that's why they were so popular. He's not trying to tell you this is how I exactly believe it takes place or that. So Tom was excellent at telling that story, where almost every other author goes in and tells the story of, oh, this is how it is, and this is what I think it is. You can bet your money on this, and that's a problem. That's the reason I don't like writing things. It's fun to talk and kind of be able to, because your mind's going to always change. I remember when when I first met Joe Roboto, he was such a stone map guy. And he was stone map and stone map this and stone map that. And then I remember later Joe Roboto going, yeah, it's bullshit. I've watched those guys change. So, and you're free to change your mind. But that's one of the things. So Tom knew things. It was just getting the time to sit and talk to him about those things without someone else jumping in. Because that was a problem too with him and Clay at times. You start talking to somebody and people jump in and start asking questions and interrupting, and then you don't get the information that you might never get again. You're getting the normal bullshit you've heard 100 times. So that's always a problem. Okay, your thoughts on Carl Haywood and Jim Cochera. Okay, it's Silas Haywood and John Cochera. We did that. We did a story on that, didn't we? Trevor, did we do the John Cochera story?
I thought we did.
I thought we did. My thoughts, I think Cochera found a bunch of gold in an old sack up by Peters Mesa. And was Jack resonating when he was... Jack. Okay, Jack is Jax. His name's not Jack. Heard it clearly. He was scratching, yes, and his name is Jax, okay? We will get to Jax in just a second. Jack, your dog. It's Jackson. Hi, Bob. Okay at the Goldfield brush fire, but it looks like about out. Sorry to interrupt. That's cool, because I'm hoping everything's fine with Bob. I'm not going to bug him, because I'm sure him and... what's Bob's son, Jacob? I'm sure him and Jacob and everybody, and even maybe Jesse and Jai, they're all working to keep everything in good going. Greetings, Wayne. Guild Gold Prospect in San Antonio, Texas, where it is a golden day. Wishing gold seeker a safe and wonderful summer. Happy with it. Happy Father's Day. Late Father's Day, but there we go. Okay, Jack, your dog. We know where we're at. Jack is the area where many feel Waltz's mine is located now. Off limits to dig. Tom's videos are great. What's the area you're talking about? I guess Peralta would be a rough way in for old times. Well, they were all rough ways back then. Thanks, Debbie, for the information. You're welcome. Jack's name is named after Jackson Spires, the drummer for Blackfoot. His name is spelled Jakson. He was known as Jax. So Jax is named after the drummer from the band Blackfoot. Right, Jackson? He just kind of sat up. He's coming over. Come on, Jackson, boy. Yeah, good boy. Okay, but he's named after Jackson Spires. So he is Jax, not Jack. Not Jackie. Not even Jay, are you? No. All right, so that's Jackson's name, and why, and the who, where, why, and when. So we got through that. So now off limits to dig. I don't know which place of many feel that it is. You'd have to kind of throw that up. Ed's not throwing that up of what he was going to. Let's see. Nope. Do you think that the Spangler family found the mine? No. I haven't heard about any of them in the mountains. See, Kenworthies. I've heard about the Kenworthies. Don't knock that guitar over, or you'll be one less dog around this house. Now you almost knocked it. See, this is why you shouldn't be over here when there's a guitar sitting over there. But I know the Kenworthies. There's people from Tom's family, Kollenborn, Barclays. I know there's different people that have interest. I've never heard out after John Spangler of anyone out here or any of them. If they're doing it very, very quietly and surreptitiously. Never have heard anybody out here. I was going to talk to Thomas Glover and talk to him if he knew if any of them had an interest or if they were just holding it because there were people that were interested that never came out. I've never heard of any. the Spanglers, and the Spanglers that I've met and spoken to have never been out there and shown no other interest other than family history interest. I missed you last week, sorry. Late Father's Day. Yeah, we're good. So there we are. I'm going to reiterate this coming Monday, Cashy's Lost Load. Wednesday. I said Lost Load.
Sorry, I can't hear you over the French music.
Okay, well, quit talking.
Huh?
Quit talking then. If you can't hear me, why are you talking to me? Okay, have you ever found gold in the Superstitions? Yes. So, but it's coming Monday, Cashy's Lost Load. And then Wednesday will be the 90th anniversary Dawn's Trek that we did. Almost 90 years to the day from the first Trek hike. And then Friday will be live. And then the next following Monday there will be Chasing Legends at 4 p.m. Arizona time. And that will be the video blog of my trip into Los Angeles to film for History's Greatest Mysteries, and you'll follow that up Monday night with History's Greatest Mysteries with Lawrence Fishburne. So that will actually be very cool because Monday you'll get that double dose there and get to see the very professional me. Have you ever found gold? Yes, I have. Pay attention if you're gonna eavesdrop. Pay attention if you're gonna eavesdrop. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a bad habit in here because you're back to back, and then he's got. I'm sure he has headphones on.
Yeah.
Yes. So he's having the conversation now, finally, but he's gonna wear headphones, and then usually I have things going on, so we're going back and forth and only half hearing. Sometimes I don't know if he's talking to me. So generally, as a rule, he is.
No, what's better is when I don't know if they can see.
Yeah, they can see you when you pop out like that.
What's better is when someone else walks in the room and I've got headphones on and I'm doing something, and you've got headphones on, and they're talking to one of us, but
we
the
don't
other
know
one's
who.
not aware, and then we keep thinking that the other person's talking to
Yeah.
us. So I keep turning to you and I'm like, "What are you talking about? What's going on?" And then you're like, "Don't worry about it." I'm like, "No, what's?" And it's someone else trying to talk to you.
That happens quite a bit.
That's my.
Okay, have you been the Generator Mine by Angel Springs? Which one is that? Is the generator? Is that the one out by Rogers Canyon? Up there, the pit mine. God, they used to have a generator in it, and it was an open It was an open shaft. It wasn't really a pit. It wasn't a sloped pit or anything like that. It was a deep one. We call it the Silver Chief. But anyways, that one. Okay, have you been? Yes, I've been there. Have you been to a place in the north end of Bluff Springs called Zigzag Canyon? And so I went down the north end of Bluff Springs Canyon. Have any interesting short stories from this trip? Okay, he was talking to Trevor, and Trevor's not paying attention. Nothing. Just stay out of it. Stay out of my crap. It's my life.
I thought you were saying something about
I was reading from the screen. Hey, frog. Okay, jumped in. Yes, I've been all over Bluff Springs. It was one of my favorite places to hike, all the way around, the Barge and Needle Canyon sides, Blacktop, in that area. I've been down the north side out of Canyon de Fresco or Bluff Springs Canyon, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if I call that the Zigzag. The Zigzag to me was the one up by that one that zigzags up onto Peters Mesa. That was always to me the Zigzag. I thought isn't that what they called it? Somebody can help me out there, but I always thought the Zigzag was by Squaw. Crazy Jake used that. And that was the Zigzag trail. The one coming off the Bluff Springs, north side of Bluff Springs, what I would call Kollenborn's Killer. Larry Hedrick actually I think they rode a horse down that. And Larry said he thought he was going to die. He was sitting on the horse's ears the whole time. Don't know why Larry does stories all the time, and he doesn't talk about those trips with Tom and some of the other stuff he did in the mountains. He never talks about those trips. He just talks about stuff he can read from paper. I don't know why, and I've told him, tell that story, man, because it's a good story. It was fun to listen to him talk about it, and then I talk to Tom about it, and then Tom would talk about it. Because Tom always acted like, freaking horse, it can go up it, no big deal. And Larry said he literally kept moving up the horse till he was basically on the horse's ears, holding on for dear life as they came out of there. But yeah, I've been all familiar with those areas. What else? The generator mine. So I've been there. I was there back, God, when was that? Early 2000s? I remember when everybody was talking about it. San Felice had been by it later. Jack Carlson ran into it earlier than the people that we will not mention worked it. And then Greg Davis and Jack, they accidentally ran across it while the generators was still there. Stuff was going on in the mid-late 90s. Jack came in after that. He I think he tries to act like he came in. I think Carlson and Greg were out there looking at that area and ran into it. Now, a lot of this could come from Tom because Billy Martin had told Tom about that area. So I think that's what pushed everyone in there is Tom was talking to everybody about it, and then it pushed different people up into there. But we got up there. Once they all were getting in there and starting to mess around, I went up and I dropped down in. I know Dave Leach did. Randy Wright did. There's a bunch of people that went up there. Not sure, but I heard from people I met in Phoenix. Okay. I'm trying to... It's north end of Bluff called Zigzag. Yeah, Zigzag, I'm pretty sure, is the Crazy Jake Trail up in Squaw. And I don't never heard that term for that trail. I don't know what it's. I think it's just the north end of Bluff Springs, and it's not associated with Van Suet or any of the other people up there, McGill, anybody on that end. Tom, the video talks about the term switchback. Do you have your own description of switchback? No, I just call them switchbacks. I just call it a switchback trail. And some are different than others. Cardiac's a bit of a switchback. It switches back, 2-3 times when it first goes up? Not bad. There's, a lot of the switchbacks aren't too bad. I'm thinking going up to Ely Anderson, the switchback is, let's see, once, twice, 3. I think it's only like 4 or 5. It's not bad for that whole distance up the mountain. Those, to me, switchbacks, Kaibab's a switchback. Grand Canyon, that's definitely, because you're just constantly back and forth all the way down. There's a few, but I always think, Peralta Canyon, that does some switchback a lot, back and forth across it. Definitely once you start to ascend in there. So I just always think of them as switchbacks. Again, talking about the Silver Chief, Randy Wright came out and told me, I asked him, what do you think? Because he went up with San Felice and a bunch of guys. And it's in Jack's book, some of the trips they made with Randy. And I couldn't get off or something. I don't know why I didn't go. I know Dick Walp went. I would have normally went. Who knows why I didn't. Greg Davis went. I'm sure Carlson probably went. I went after they made one of their first trips and talked about it because Randy talked about it and said, everything they tell you, they got you convinced. I got there and he said, once I looked it over, it really didn't make sense compared to the story and everything I knew. I was really having to change things. He said, it just didn't feel right. And he said, but that's, you tell me what you think. So I went out and I followed the ridge. I went down the ridge line to it, and which was a lot easier. And I followed the ridge line and got out there and looked around at a couple of the other spots because there was a lot of mining activity up there. I knew some of the history because I already had the claim papers for that Herman Petrash witnessed from up there by the Silver Chief, so I was already aware of all that. And they've been on topo maps. That's another thing everybody needs to remember. They've been on topo maps for 100 years. So everybody's been fully aware that they're there. How nobody visited them, that's crazy. And nobody thought they were the Lost Dutchman mine until suddenly, So I went out and I had the same impression that Randy did. I don't know how Greg or anyone else felt. They didn't feel like it was it. But I went out, looked at it, and I thought, man, I don't know. I'm kind of a real take it analytically of like what you think is true or not, and your whole thing is try to prove to yourself that it is the Dutchman. So what elements proves that it could be the Dutchman? And I could find very little. It just didn't really work up. Everything that I was being told, I was like, nope, that isn't right. Nope, that doesn't work either. And why you're taking a Holmes clue and this clue and that clue and this is a Julia Thomas clue and you're taking this guy's clue and you're putting them all together. And it was like a weird matrix scene to me. So I kind of like decided, well, there was a lot of activity. I talked to Shoes about it. He said it definitely was a silver mine, mainly silver. The samples I grabbed and broke out of it just to look at the kind of the rock, even though I didn't have anything off the original vein. I did it just to kind of have a piece, because I do that, and then I put stuff in my yard or have it up on a shelf, kind of like I've been there, and kind of look at it when someone talks about it. It didn't look like the stuff that people gave me later, which was completely different than anything I should have been looking at. So it made even less sense, the matrix of the rock. So as time went by, it just more and more kind of like, I kind of was like, I don't. So it was interesting. I know they might have got a little gold out of there. I know a lot of people that had a lot to do with it. And I've seen a lot of pictures. And a lot of people talked. And that's something on History's Greatest Mysteries that we will explain this. I made sure that when it was something that I don't want to talk about because of people's involvement that I consider friends, and it's not to cover up for them, but more or less I don't want them to get in trouble for something they did, I will just bow out. So I really didn't want to talk much about that and a couple things because I like people, and I was like, I'm not looking to do hard feeling. I know they'd be fine with anything I say, but I don't want to say anything that could cause them grief from other points. So there were a few things, and I don't know if they'll leave that in when they interviewed me, where I'll just say, pass, next question. I don't want to answer that because I don't want to involve anybody because it's too complicated to talk about right now. I made sure of that. So I was being protective of friends. So it wasn't about, did you find the Lost Dutchman line? No, but I don't want anybody to call you on it and take you to court over it. Nobody needs to go to jail for something about like that. The part about his clues and her clues is the crux. What part? In the shadow. See, I gotta go back up and look. I don't know what his clues and her clues. I don't even know what you're talking about. You will know the Dutchman mind when you see it. Okay, what information? Good to see you back, by the way, Bowman. What information has Jim Bark hoping to find in Spain? He was looking for Peraltas, the Peralta, not the Peralta land grant. He was looking for any of the mining acquisitions and anything from any Peralta mining operations and ventures in Arizona. You wouldn't believe the amount of archives that are over there, the amount of material. So he went to Spain to see if he could find any. This had nothing to do with the Barren Arizona stuff. This had to do with, he wanted to find out if there were any records in the superstitions concerning the Peralta family and any of their work in the Sonora Desert and so forth. And I'm sure that stuff's in his collection too, and we'll never see that. That would be very interesting to see what he dug up in Spain, because he was there much earlier on, and there was a lot less stuff. God, I couldn't imagine how much stuff there was to go through that. And I don't know if Mark spoke Spanish, so I don't know how much he would have been able to get out of it. To me, it looks like now that the dams were built as giant sloughs, so I don't know about that. Small scale to big scale, I don't know, all the different stories from different players, sorting. I don't think that's it. I think your problem is all the different stories from different players is what created the confusion. And there's, I think, 90% of what you're going to usually see on a program or have somebody read in a book needs to be just thrown out on the floor and just discarded. It's hard, but I said this earlier. Tom Kollenborn wrote and told you a story about somebody or a situation or an event or something, and he told you the information historically on that. He didn't give you his opinion where he thought something was or that. If you read his words carefully, he was very good at that. The problem with most people is they say, well, this is my opinion because of this. And then it's not scientific, it's just the way they feel it. And that's not correct. You can sit there and talk, everybody will tell you how Al Reeser and Peters Mesa and all that. One of the last places he was with John Spangler, Jim Bark's nephew, was up on Bluff Springs, and they filed a mine, the Alina Sears, and Alina Sears was Jim Bark's wife, John Spangler's aunt, and that's where they were doing it before the mining closure came in, and they were spending tons of time on Bluff Springs. None of the guys that are into the Peters Mesa stuff talk about Al Reeser and John Spangler being on Bluff Springs all that time in their camps and everything they were doing and filing claims. They only talk, Al was definitely set on it being on Peters Mesa, nothing else. That's a problem because now you're taking history out. They even changed it. I can't remember where it's at. There's the information where Barkley was chasing Reinhardt out because Reinhardt had been up around Bluff Springs and stuff. And then Gassler's manuscript, which I got some problems with Gassler's manuscript, but he says Reinhardt was chased off of Peters Mesa. But I found the original story, which predated all that, and it was Barkley chasing the Petrasches off of Bluff Springs. So you can't have it both ways, but did Walter Gassler get that from Barkley? Was he being funny? Was he was known to pull a prank or two? Or did he get it wrong? Or because he was interested in that area, who knows? Which Gassler, got to remember, early on was filing claims and very interested in the south end of Bluff Springs Mountain. So did he get it confused? Because his very first claim he was filing, they were on Bluff Springs Mountain. So go figure. So now you got to say, okay, what is the source when all these guys start, and where do they start? When they can't find it, can't figure it out, they keep spreading out. And so where was the source? What originally brought them into an area, and what was that specific thing? And you always find it's generally somewhere around LaBarge, Needle Canyons, and it's down through there. And the Weaver's Needle thing, I don't think Walt's ever mentioned Weaver's Needle. I don't think he did, so who knows where it was in respect to that. I got to get caught up here, though. Clay mentions a 3-inch vein of hematite with gold. Do you see hematite 3 inches thick in any washes? I've seen 3-inch hematite. Yeah, I've seen that in different places. It's the 18-inch vein of quartz locked in hematite, or hematite locked in quartz, or whatever, with the Dutchman. That's the one you're looking for. And that's in a pit mine. His story. Did Gassler have gold when he died at Charlie Boy? No. There are beautiful things everywhere without meeting. Okay, Squaw Mountain. Squaw Mountain is... Squaw Mountain. Are you talking Coffee Flat? Trying to go through. Did Gassler have when he died at Charlie? He died between Charlie Boy and up on Peters Mesa. That's not Squaw Mountain. He died on the trail up, so between Black Mountain or Charlie Boy Mountain and Peters Mesa. Squaw Mountain is Squateet. That's Coffee Flat. Nobody calls it that anymore, but that's a whole different area of the mountains. So, all right, yes. Coffee Flat is a colorful geology. Squaw Canyon for Steve. Squaw is, there's two squaws, and Squaw Canyon is over on the west side of Peters Mesa, and there's two squaws, three squaws if you want to be technical, but there's two squaw, and that was Crazy Jake's area. So, and there's Old Squaw and New Squaw over there. But yeah, Gassler wasn't found in there. He was okay. So, like Mount Wilson, and don't get into someone's Gassler stories. If we do that today, then we have to expose someone for being a fake. Jack stated Bicknell, the reporter, the third newspaper. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the Bicknell stuff. PC Bicknell came down, got interested. He was writing stories. When you wrote stories, the amount of words and whatever your article is what you got paid for. Bicknell went out searching. He was searching for several different mines and telling different mine stories. He kind of went out towards the Rogers Canyon area in one. He had different things. He mentioned the Weaver's Needle. A couple other people did too. I think it's just people kept saying whenever someone told them a prominent peak, oh, well, it has to be Weaver's Needle. I don't know. I think Tom once told me Julia got a little hung up on Weaver's Needle at some point because people, once she saw it, she kept thinking that could be one of the peaks. Maybe, but you got to remember, Julia only searched in the mountains for that year or so, and then she kind of was like, kind of getting done with it. Realized that wasn't for her. So you had, a lot of people had much more limited time. Now, Reinhardt was out there for a couple of years or so, and then he left town, and he would come in and search with Gottfried and Herman. But they even spent time up in the Verde Valley and other areas. A lot of people don't talk about them, where they were, and they were out there with Schaefer, Julia's husband. So they all stayed in contact for the next year or two, but they were off doing other stuff at times, trying to make a living, and then they would go back in and search. Let's see here. 3 squaws. Yeah, so many Mount Wilsons. If you got a moment, I will look at the ideal. What? I don't know what that is. Find the vertical pyramid shape. Okay, whatever. Okay. Anyways, yeah, when you first enter, you'll see squaw, and then the squaw has that branch, and that Jake's camp there was one up above and one down below. So we talked in the video about the one down at the bottom by the boulders, and they had the fence line and stuff, and then north of there's another squaw. So they had different squaw. Yeah, nothing in the superstitions can be easy. We have to change place names or make multiple places named the same thing. We have to have Black Mesa, but we have to have Blacktop Mesa, which isn't really a mesa, but it's, Shoes will always tell you it's Blacktop, not Blacktop Mesa. So you have Black Mesa and Black Mesa, and then you have Black Cross Butte, but you also have over on Fish Creek Mountain, Black Cross Butte again, right across from it. So we can't have anything easy in the superstitions. It has to be made completely confusing just to throw you guys off. So, but I usually, when someone's talking about something, you usually know what they're kind of mentioning and stuff in relation. What do you think is going to happen with Oak Flat? Money wins. There's not enough people that give a crap to really stop anything there. Our politicians are a bunch of dogs, both sides of the aisle. If you're voting for any of those people, that is a shame. They just are going to railroad that, destroy that area. They don't give a shit, and that's sad. And that's been years and years, and they're just going to down to the last person. It's almost too late at this point to stop it. There's too much money. I mean, I don't think the jobs are going to mean shit. I don't think it's not going to do shit. But the sad thing is, someone who's going to profit a lot from it, and they're going to grease someone's palms, and it's going to happen. So there's nothing you can do about it. I think the only person that can put a stop to it is possibly the president, which is only temporary, or Secretary of Interior, which is only temporary because those are people that can be replaced. So you're never going to be able to stop it. It's just going to eventually happen. And that is really unfortunate because you keep pushing someone off somewhere, and whenever they have something that's sacred or means something to them, you keep pushing them off, and they're really trying to hold their own, but they're not going to win. And it's really a shame. The geological anomalies. There's geological anomalies all through the superstitions because it's a volcano. It's a calderas. So it's not geological anomalies. It's a bunch of calderas that blew up and exploded and collapsed, and that's crazy, crazy stuff. Dusty Bradshaw, hey, what's up? These English names for these places doesn't change the energy. Stand up, game over. It's ever too late. No hope. As weak. I don't know what that's talking. These English names for places doesn't change the energy. I don't know. I don't even get that. Okay. I don't know. But anyways, so Oak Flat really sucks. I take it personal, but there's nothing you can do. I would suggest if for any of the ceremonies out there, because they usually leave the ceremonies kind of open to people. So if you get a chance to experience the sunrise ceremonies or anything out there, get an invite, or if they have it open and you get a chance and hear about it, go out and witness it before it's gone, because it is kind of a last stand thing. Unfortunately for the, I'm pretty sure it's mostly the San Carlos, but the Apache tribe out there. Anomaly, Huli Bacon Trail leads into it. Pizza and brewskis Friday. I don't even know what's for dinner tonight. Spiritual world is bigger than the Disney can even do too. Okay. Mojave Pocahontas. Okay. I don't even know what that means. Cathedral Geological feature. Wow. What I don't know what wow is about. The spiritual world is bigger than the Disney could ever. I don't know what that meant. Was Jack Frazier ever involved looking for the Dutchman? I'm sure he was. I'm sure, but he had, between the ranching and his other mining interests. I mean, that's another thing. Someone once brought up to me is how Barkley was searching for the mines. He had a cattle ranch to operate. He had 3, and he was very involved in that. He collected a lot of stuff. I'm sure he got his eyes out and did certain things, but I think his business. He was doing more business. Well, it was about your... What about my Apache comment? I don't get that. But, I don't understand what it was. I said the Apaches, I'm pretty sure it's the Apache tribe group from San Carlos is out there, and they're the ones that have been using it for the sunrise ceremony. I don't get that. I don't think they're going to be able to... I think that's going to be a last stand, and that's going to be it. There's people living out there trying to hold them off. But they're not going to. They're just going to come through and arrest whoever and just be done. It's just there's not enough people to give a shit. I have a couple books in there. They've been written by members of the San Carlos tribe that I've purchased to help fund their effort. But I just don't. I don't know. There's nothing you can do. Always worry these sites are getting destroyed. Well, sites always will. I do understand one thing. Here's a perspective to look at it. Everybody step back and say, in 500 years, all the crap that they went and took and did something to won't even be there. Another earthquake, another volcanic eruption, this and that. Boom. And by the way, Oak Flat has nothing to do with gold. It's about copper. Yeah, they're going to do a copper. So it has nothing to do with gold. It's about mineralization. Plus, with going solar and the electric, I'm sure whatever it is that they're pulling out, there's probably some of that in there. So they're looking at things for the future. And because there's a lot of greasing of palms and things going on, they will do that. They've known about it forever, but they're going to move people out of there. So they're not protecting the gold. They're going to go in and push people out just because they don't fit anymore. They're such a minority. Let's face it. And I don't like to talk politics, but most people think that they have a say in the way things are going to go, and we have very little say. And the world, as it changes and evolves, we're not going to see it the same. It's just going to change. The Superstition Mountains 1,000 years ago looked nothing like what it does. 2,000 years ago looks nothing like it did. There was one point this was pretty lush, swamplands and grasslands. Man didn't change that, just things change. When you look at the superstitions, the fires and things that happen, they're not always man-made. They're lightning and so forth. Things will change. And things are going to change and evolve, and everything that's built here will go turn to dust. Snake Town is buried under feet of dirt. You drive on a highway over it. It's protected, but it's there, but it's gone. So it's a couple thousand years and you can't see a trace of it. The same's going to continue to happen. So no matter what they do, it's temporary. It's their temporary greed. But I always feel a little satisfied that in the end they won't win. You can climb the mountain, think you're victorious, the mountain still beats you, the mountain's going to be there later. No matter what you do, the mountain's sitting there. just going to be, you know. You can't win. Let's see. Ready for the big one, so Cal's going to get it. I don't know. If California gets it, it's going to suck for the entire Pacific side. Not only the whole coastline, but it's going to really suck for everybody miles and miles away. Something that big is going to affect everybody. What if you climb the Flatiron? Yeah, I'd make myself a shirt. They do all there. Flatiron. Yeah, I don't get that stuff. I mean, I really don't. You know, hey, I walked from Tortilla all the way and got to Peralta. And I did it, you know, 14 hours and 12 minutes and on a liter of water. And I'm like, good for you. Did you enjoy it? I don't know. I mean, I've had people that's like, the only reason I would be going through there without a lot of water, or kind of like, is because I didn't have a lot of water for some reason. I don't have to write what we're all thinking. Okay. But yeah, hopefully, you know, it's just, I don't know. Unfortunately, people's minds are like, Tom Kollenborn did talk about this at times, and he said he understood progress. There's no way you can hold it back forever. You can try. At the same time, he said, we're just a blip, and this is all going to be gone. So it all eventually goes back. So that's all. Don't make fun of people. Come on, Dallas, you're too good of a guy to be going that the hard 2 pound in the desert with me without water. I don't know what to be in the desert without water. But what I'm saying is people like to challenge themselves, and then that challenge is like, why would you risk it? Why would you do that? And I don't know why you think you're impressing me. And people do that all the time, you know. They tell me their times. I made it up to the Flatiron back, and then this time, and it's like, okay, I drove to Circle K in freaking 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I don't know. Maybe when I was younger there was a little of that, but I don't know. I never really had that deal. I wonder where Hank Sheffer would have. Oh, Hank never spent that much time in the mountains. I'm sorry. I knew Hank well enough that there's you know, there's the guys that do and don't, and I didn't get to know some guys because they weren't part of. There's Dutch hunters and there's not Dutch hunters, and let's put it that. And I was always around Dutch hunters, so I got to know people outside that group, and I got along fine. And when it came to Charlie and Hank, and I have Jack always, and Felice, and Larry, and I, you know, like I said, I will talk to Larry and Jack, and I will call them to make sure they're doing well. No problems, Jack. We kind of adopted him into Dutch hunting, but there's a difference. There's a big difference. Larry always said he didn't want to associate with us, but Woody Wampler is not the real Jacob Waltz. He is the real Woody Wampler, though. He has too many women fans. Who's men and women fans? Champagne trolling the live. Champagne, I don't know. Absolutely, guys. You drive, you've lived. Okay, well, that's good. Well, no, everybody should live. Everybody should live, man. If you're not getting out and living, if you're sitting there and just being a keyboard monster and you're saying that's an excuse and you can't live and get out, change what you're doing and get out somewhere where you can. Because if you're not getting out, that's a shame, because you go through once, and one time you go through, you got to do something about it. And that's why I can tell you people that experience it. He's not here to hear Derek. He's one of those. Dallas is one of those. You can see in their eyes when we're talking and stuff. But that's a cool thing, man, is when we're talking and we're like wanting to get out and it's be cool if we can run into each other and do some, because it's such a cool thing. Because you can see it brings us out, man. We become alive out there, and it doesn't matter. When we did the 90th anniversary hike, there were a lot of people that don't normally go out and do those kind of walks. We did something very easy, but it was so cool to get that mix of people together and have that blast. If you rest, you rust. I don't know about that, but I'd like to rest a little more. Never living deep dive. Stop living the deep dive. Stay safe, stay free. Thank you, Mr. Bowman. But Mr. Bowman's telling us it's probably time for us to get out, which I'm looking at. I made it through with my head cold, so I'm very proud of that because I was worried about that. Should we do the outro for the stupid music? I don't know, Trevor. Don't know. I'm not going to do that. I was going to do some guitar. I had the resonator down. But I couldn't have two guitars down at the same time. We'll catch that up next week. But we will finish off with this coming Monday, Cashe's Lost Lode. Story about in the Harquahal Mountains. Wednesday is the 90th anniversary Dawn's Trek hike that we just did this year. So that'll be very cool. Greg Davis and myself mainly speaking through that. So that'll be very cool for everybody. Our trip from First Water all the way through up to Garden Valley. And then, so that's Wednesday at 4 p.m. Then Friday we'll do the live. And we'll also be putting out shorts and stuff. Look for them because coming Monday on July 1st, it will be Legend, Chasing Legends will feature my video log of Los Angeles and my trip to film History's Greatest Mysteries. And then following that evening on History Channel, you can watch the History's Greatest Mysteries program. I will not spoil it. I will talk in general about it, and then that way, when live comes up the next week, we can share and I can go in depth about some more of the behind-the-scenes stuff that I don't want to spoil anything. So I think it could be, wow. Yeah, Josh, you kind of came real late. Thanks, Wayne. Have a good week. And Josh, we'll start it from the beginning, man. Start it from the beginning. Because you're going to love the intro. Kind of came in silly. Verde Valley has diamonds, 1760s Spanish bishop mine. All right. But no, thank you, everybody. From the beginning, the first person into the last, man. Joshua kind of bringing up the rear there. My wife and I are bummed too we missed the live. You never miss the live because here shortly it will be brought up and it will be posted up and it will be there for everyone to watch. So we always post them so you can always flip back and catch the whole thing from beginning to end. And that's one of the reasons we do them is it catches people up. This week was a good week. It was a treasure hunt week. See, we got treasure. History Channel, no, nevermore. Well, okay. Do History Channel one time, Monday afternoon, evening. Do it the one time. Get me a view. It's me. It's me. And it should be a good program. I'm not going to spoil it, but they used me as a consultant. So it might be good. There's a good chance this might be the one. Backstabbers using you. They paid me a lot of money. I know, but no, I got to be the consultant. I got to rewrite stuff. If it turns out the way I worked with them, it could be a very good program. I don't know. It's up to their editing. They just buy, and that's any TV show. They bring you in. They purchase what you are there to deliver. How they use it is up to them. So there. So if I get paid, hey, that's what I did. I did the best I could. And if it's something like what I would want, that's great. I am through the roof. This one could be really good. If it's different than I would have done it or handled it, yeah, so be it. I can't complain. It's their editorial right. They buy the material. They bring me in. If I want to say my side of things without any edit and anything, we do the live and I put my Chasing Legends up. So I have my channel to run things, and then I go and then they basically ask and invite me in, and if you watch then they invite me in more and they listen to me more, and each time they listen to me more you get more of the truth through and that type of thing, so you get a chance in that. So okay, anyways, I saw it before I was here. Okay, you saw it before. I don't even know what you're talking about at that point. You saw the History Channel. Thanks. play some guitar. I can't get to the guitar. It's up there. Hey, Wayne, thanks for being you. Literally go to YouTube. I cut the live and started working on my project. Blah, 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 blah. This seems like 5 o'clock around here. It is 5 o'clock. It'd be amazing if you teamed up with, I don't know who Jeff Williams is. Drink lots of beer. Good night. I'm not going to drink beer because I'm got that head cold here. I didn't get that last part. I saw it before I was here. I don't know what you saw before you were here, but the History Channel, History's Greatest Mysteries with Lawrence Fishburne, we will continue to talk about it until you're sick of hearing me talk about it, because I really am hoping they did a good by us. If they did good by us, then that'll be an awesome thing. Jeff Vile, I don't know what the... It was 5 o'clock somewhere. Yes, Wayne, your chat replay is slow. Okay. Well, I don't know. Hey, there's a delay, and I'm looking over, and I got pizza on the mind now, so now my delay is delayed. It's Dr. Pepper and Cigarette Cure. Okay, Jeff Williams is the top-rated gold miner on YouTube. Yeah, you're going to get what? I don't know. Okay. I do my thing. He can do his thing. I don't know. People invite me to do stuff, and sometimes if I know who they are, I do things. Jack Tucker and some guys, I will do stuff because I've met them or I know them or there's some connection somewhere. But some people, I mean, let's face it, before we go, some people have an ego about certain things, and I do this channel straight and narrow up. There's nothing I put into it, nothing I purchased, nothing I bought, nothing. This is just organically what it is. It's very real. And other people do other stuff, and they know they're competing with me, even though it doesn't seem like they're competing with me, because if we get money for commercials, we're just getting pure money. They're having to make up money. So if you get what I'm saying, is basically a lot of people don't want anything to do with me because I'm too quick, I'm too witty, I'm too damn good looking, and they just really don't know what to do with me. So, yeah. Jeff scares me. I don't know who Jeff Williams is. I'll have to look him up. That's why it's not adding up. Relay 2.5. Okay. Well, and plus I also talk and then I jump back and I'm trying to grab stuff and then look down and catch what everybody's saying. So is there gold in Home Depot saying? Yes, there is. Someone did a video on that. I saw it. Walgreens sells the treatment for a head cold. I don't do anything. I just do cigarettes, Dr. Pepper, and I sleep. We love your show. Thanks to all of us. No problem. Bobby, get well. Okay, Bobby? I wish you well. Hope everything turns out good for you, okay? But I hope you feel the music by yourself tonight. I got the music right here. Here, we got the music. Oh, hold it. We got to do the music. Oh. There we go, the music. I can feel the music. There we go. That was there for actually other reasons before that, and I never did it. I was going to run through some of the music we've been preparing for future shows and some films and stuff, and let you guys get a taste of it, and we set it up to do that, and then I came up with this corny thing to do with that. So that was just like my tongue-in-cheek joke, and then somehow it became the one thing I used. So go figure. Trevor's definitely upset about that whole thing.
What?
That I didn't do the rest. I didn't play guitar or run the demos, but I did this stupid.
You know, it was a huge deal earlier, and we had to go through and set it up and test everything, and it was this whole ordeal.
It's 5:12. It's 5:12. But you know what we're gonna do? Just for Trevor, we're going to do one. We're gonna put something. I don't even know what this is. I'm just gonna go into Pro Tools, and we're gonna put something up. Okay. I don't know how
now
loud
watch
it's
as
gonna
it
be.
doesn't work. You gotta hit play.
That was a dopey one to come up with. Fuck you, son. Wow. Definitely 80s music there.
Hey, that's a good outro. There you go.
That's a good outro, according to Trevor. That was a good outro. I don't know. I was trying to find something. I didn't have this set up, obviously, very well either. So, and I didn't mark down like, hey, pull this one out. This will sound good. Shit, who knows what I got in here?
You gotta click
I know. I'm trying to read what people are saying. Oh, I'm taking way too long. I'm Wayne Tuttle. You're not.
Oh, this one's not. Hold on. I think you need to. Hold on. Let me see it.
No, let me go through. Is that it?
No,
that's my.
One below it.
Hold it set up. This one here.
No, it's set up right. Why is it not working?
Okay, this is the one that wasn't working earlier. I wrote it down.
Oh.
I had a question mark by it.
And so, of all the ones that you chose to play,
I'm sure
you opened up the one that.
Well, I know. I was just randomly picking something. Yeah, the idea was to pick something and then just play something for them before I left. There's like 20 music files here.
There you go. That one.
Unfortunately, with music files, we'll see what this one plays like. It's going to be very low. Anyways, with music files, I don't name things by, like, I name things just so it's different than the last thing. So it could be, this one could be salt, and then the next one could be asparagus. Just so I keep in my head, asparagus was that one I was working on the other day. I don't know, it's kind of low. It's there. Are these crossed up? Yeah, that's okay. So this
You're only
side
turning up that one.
now it's they're crossed. Okay. Anyways, there you go. Lost without a mind. I'm lost without a mind. All right. So there you go. That was something we were going to play with, and these I can't show you the screen, but there's like 7, 8 tracks here. And I was working on this stuff, and I don't want to mess with it too much. Is it gonna go away? I can leave that. I'm gonna leave that, and hopefully we stay on. Yes, okay, we did. But anyways, we had that idea, and I completely forgot about it, and that was the main thing I wanted to do today, is run through some of the demos in the background and stuff. There's stuff for sunsets and other things there. And it's not mixed, but that's the raw tracks. They're finished, and they're all over the place for different projects. So there you go. Kind of neat stuff. Anyways, maybe next week I'll get to that while we got some other stuff. And next week I'll get back to playing some guitar at the beginning. Maybe we'll do something there and all. Okay, they had no more gold talk. So everybody, Tunnels, okay, just play that Apache War drum beat you got in your intro. That was on a gourd drum, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. That was the Chasing Legends theme, and I sat in the middle of the room in here, and I played a gourd drum, and then I took, you can't see it in the corner over there, there's a rain stick, and I played with the rain stick, and then I made my daughter, I told her do these 3 notes, and then I mixed that, and that's what we have. That was very, just kind of last minute, wasn't it? I mixed it, threw it, and told Trevor, use that. And that's how that came. So there was all of from birth to finish, mix, record, final track mastered. That probably took all of 15 minutes. So there you go. Game 6 is starting. Yes, I have to get off because we're in Edmonton, and yes, the Oilers are playing the Panthers tonight. So, maybe just use the numbers instead of words for your... No, can't use numbers, can't use dates, because I get very confused at those, none of that. I just use words that mean random things, and that works really well for me. Just unfortunately, these got mixed up because there's 3 or 4 of them that are untitled, and then there's 2 or 3 that have dates, so I screwed up my own way to do things, and now I don't know which one's which. So we'll go through and fix them, and we'll get ready for next week. So I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. Hope everybody will do that and enjoy the rest of the week. Stupid sports. There's not stupid sports. They're all good sports if you like them. I love baseball and I love hockey. So, and Stanley Cup is the Stanley Cup, man. So even, it's a lot that I'm not watching the Stanley Cup right now. But yeah, we will get in there and watch the Cup tonight. Hopefully it goes to a Game 7. That very awesome to have a Game 7 Stanley Cup. So Hockey's a pure sport. When you see what those guys do, what they do, it's just a pure sport, and it's not changed. It doesn't change a lot. They have not messed in the broadcast. They still air it the same. And hockey's a cool sport, man, and it's a hard sport. So, sent you a lunchbox guitar. Made out of a lunchbox. Anyways, I gotta get going because I gotta go watch that, grab some pizza, got a bunch of things to do. Plus, my throat is dry at this point. I'm talking to too many people. Anyways, everybody have a great rest of the week. Beginning to end. Thank you for all you've done and all you've kind of came here and kind of showing up and doing everything. We went way over. The 1 week I figured I wouldn't go over much, or maybe not even make it an hour. I went way over. So there you go. Anyways, everyone have a great week. We will talk to you later. We will see you Monday. We will see you Wednesday and then next Friday. All right. Thank you, everybody, and have a good rest of the week.